I'm going to start recording. All right, welcome everyone to Kids at Science training. This is our Earth and Space module. And so go ahead and advance to the next slide for me.
Advance the slide.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry.
Okay. For those of you who are new, okay, actually, if you can enter into the chat box your name, what district you're from, okay, and how long you've been teaching kindergarten. Okay. Are you new? Are you veteran? Okay, go ahead and type in the chat box so that we get to know who is in the audience. Hey, some of you, is this your first time with Kids at Science? Third time, fourth time, fifth time? Let us know. How many times have you attended Kids at Science hands-on training? All right. Who are we? Who is Kids at Science? We're basically teachers, science advocates, people who are passionate about hands-on learning. We are a nonprofit group. We're all mainly full-time people working in different districts and things like that. So there are no full-time employees at Kids at Science. We're a group of people who want to help other teachers get hands-on learning into the schools, all right? So we're so happy that you're here. That means you share that same passion with us. So today's gonna be a really, really great day, all right? Who is sponsoring Kids at Science? How do we do something like this? How do we go about building kits, getting the materials out to you, and getting you hands-on training? We've been gracefully sponsored by the Beckman, the Arnold and Mabel Beckman Foundation, and they funded something like this. So we want to show you the legacy video of who Dr. Beckman is and how he was able to sponsor something like this, all right? So can you cue up the video for me again? If not, I can do it too. Okay. I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna show you later on after the training, okay? What you can do is all of our units are accessible through our website, okay? And it's gonna look something like this. And then when you're in here, it is nice if you can share this video. It's only 2.5 minutes, less than 2.5 minutes long. If you can share this with your students, okay, so that they understand. It actually started with a 10-year-old kid, has a natural curiosity about science, started tinkering around in the attic, and then he became a very renowned, known scientist and a philanthropist, okay? And so that's who Dr. Beckman is. So this video here will capture that. So you can share this with your students. It would be really, really great.
Born in the small farming community of Colum, Illinois, on April 10, 1900, young Arnold Beckman's interest in science was first piqued upon finding a chemistry book in the family attic. Not long after reading Steele's 14 Weeks in Science, he converted his father's tool shed into a makeshift chemistry lab. He began a more serious study of science at the University of Illinois, where he received his bachelor's degree in chemical engineering in 1922, followed by his master's degree in physical chemistry 1 year later. Throughout his school years, he also tapped into his creative talents by playing piano in silent movies to help support his family and fund his education. Beckman went on to receive his doctorate in photochemistry at the California Institute of Technology, 1928, where he also served as an assistant professor. While he was still teaching, Dr. Beckman invented the acidometer, which he first produced for a former classmate at a Southern California citrus processing plant. Designed to measure acidity levels in lemon juice, the acidometer turned out to be a forerunner of the modern pH meter. It quickly became an indispensable tool in analytic chemistry and earned him a place in the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 1987, joining other great inventors like Thomas Edison and Alexander Bell. Dr. Beckman once stated, "When you're faced with the necessity to do something, that's a stimulus to invention. If my classmate hadn't come in with his lemon juice problem, chances are I never in the world would have thought about making a pH meter." Dr. Beckman left his teaching position to found Beckman Instruments in 1935, where he continued to develop and manufacture scientific instruments, leading to the release of the Beckman DU spectrophotometer in 1941. Considered the scientific equivalent of Ford's Model T, This product not only simplified tedious laboratory procedures, it also increased analytical precision and revolutionized chemical analysis. Dr. Beckman left a powerful legacy. With his generous donations to the Beck Minute Science program, which provided hands-on investigations to over 1 million students in K-6. His legacy continues with the support of Kids at Science Foundation, who will reach another 1 million students.
All right. So that is the video of Dr. Beckman and the Beckman Foundation. So we are one of the projects that they have funded. So we're very, very lucky because it's very concentrated for Orange County. So the fact that you're here, we're really happy that you're here. At the end of the training, you will please answer the survey. That's how we collect information and send you out the voucher so that you can pick up the kits. Now, with the pandemic, we did something very extraordinary. In terms of, we've always given out kits, classroom kits to teachers and set up stations so that you can rotate your students to do these stations. But with the pandemic, we know that you need materials, that is, the kids cannot cross-contaminate, right? Using these materials. So we were able to get order individualized student materials so that you can, student kits so that you can go ahead and distribute those so that hands-on learning, hands-on investigation continues. Now our 2 trainers' computer crashed. So you see the little bumps, they just got back in. All right, hi you guys, no worries. So Amy Brown and Jennifer Victor are your 2 kindergarten trainers. As you all know, you've all experienced this. Tech issues, there's always tech issues, right? They went into their school site to make sure that the internet is strong, to make sure that this training works for you. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna make them co-hosts, all right? And then they're gonna take over. They're gonna walk you through lesson by lesson unit, in this unit. This is focusing on Earth and space standards for kindergarten, okay? Kids at Science, what we do is very grade level specific training. It is not a general overview of the standards. It's not just hiding the standard. It's actually modeling what does it take? How do we help our kids learn these concepts, right? So I'm going to turn over the training to both Jennifer. All right, so let me spotlight. Okay, I'm going to spotlight Jennifer and Amy. Go ahead and Jennifer, Victor, can you wave? There, can everyone see Jennifer? Okay, all right. She's going to explain how long she's been teaching kindergarten. And then we have Amy Brown. Go ahead, Amy.
Hi.
These 2, they are really good friends outside of work too. They've taught K for a long time. So I'm going to hand over the training over to them. You're in good hands. All right. Have fun, everyone.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Jennifer. I teach in Capistrano Unified School District in Aliso Viejo. I've been at this school since 2000. And prior to that, I was at a school down in San Juan for 2 years. I've taught all grades in elementary except 5th. And I've been in kindergarten for 8 years now. So I know kind of where they need to be when they get older. And so I try to give them the base ground level that they'll need when they get older in the other grades. So we work a lot on vocabulary and on hands-on because a lot of times they want to play and do the hands-on, but they don't know the vocabulary that goes with it or the why. So science is really helpful when it comes to the why and prompting them to come up with their own answers. So this is my dear friend, Amy Brown. Amy.
Hi, Amy Brown. I teach also in Capistrano Unified. Jen and I taught kindergarten together for a lot of years. I'm now at a different school and I teach 1st grade actually this year, but I've split 30 years between kindergarten 1st and 2nd, including the combos in between. And so I'm definitely well aware of where they need to go as far as up through 2nd grade, but that's where we are.
So they're seeing this screen?
Yeah. Can you see our screen now? Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Not our faces, our screen, yes.
You want to go?
So today we do have all three of these different sciences available through Kids at Science.
We taught physical science this fall. We're going to do earth science today. And then I think in the springtime, we're doing life science.
So there's a kit available for each one of these to try to help it become more easy for teachers. And we've also changed some things to make it that possible that you can do it online. We are both in the classroom with our students. So I'm not sure if all of you are teaching virtual or if you are in the classroom with your kids, but in our district right now, we do have kids in the classroom. So we just have to teach it a little differently. Instead of grouping everybody by groups of 5 or 6, they all have their own materials. So just this week we made paper in my classroom. And so I'll show you how to do that here, and you'll have all the materials that we show you today in your kits. So earth science is covered by earth systems, the weather and the weather patterns over time, the effect of sunlight on Earth's surface, adaptations of animals and plants,
Sorry, we can't read that one right now.
earth and human activity, the needs of plants and animals, adaptation for survival, weather forecasting, and human impact on plants and animals.
Earth science happens to have some real crossovers to both physical science and the life sciences. So you'll see both of those kind of integrated within this unit. This is if you need it for your principal or for your district, these are the disciplinary core ideas, cross-cutting concepts, science and engineering practices for everything that's covered, as well as the performance expectations for the earth science unit. So all that's in this presentation, and you'll get access to all of these slides. So if you ever have to write up something or show your principal or present to somebody, all of that's done for you.
So we're going to go over the different lessons. If you see it says number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. If you want to automatically go to a lesson and not go through each one of them, say you're on lesson 5, you don't want to
flip through
all of them. You can just click on the number 5 and it'll bring you to the 5 lesson. Or if you want to go to lesson 6, you can click on the 6 and it'll take you right there instead of going through the whole slideshow. So that's kind of a nice thing to have.
Especially the resources at the end.
Yeah.
Because that'll link everything too. These are some connections to text that we thought were valuable for you, different books you can look for. Lots of the books, if you just put in under Google the title of a book, chances are a librarian or somebody on YouTube has read that as a read aloud. We found that we don't have to go, and buy all our books through Amazon anymore, that you can just pretty much put in this title, The Tiny Seed by Eric Carle, and somebody will have a read aloud of it.
Also, I went into our old science curriculum and just pulled the mini readers from the old units. So then the kids could be reading the same thing that you might have things at your school site that you can use for this lesson if they don't clean out their cupboards as often as others do. So that was helpful to me. I just went and looked it up in the science room and found everything that I needed for the kids at their reading level. Also, public libraries have a link now that the librarian reads a book. So if you are logged onto that, you can get it for free, a book for free, read to your kids. If you can't find it online, then your library should be able to provide it. All right, investigation 1, let's get into it. Already the coffee's kicking in. Plants and animals and their needs. So a lot of you are familiar and probably have done lots of these things. We're just trying to make it easier by providing you with the materials, because sometimes the materials are what you're lacking at your school site. And then Beckman will also make little kits for you to send home, little bags full of the supplies that the kids will need to do this at home if you're doing it with them online. So
all these yellow slides are the ones made for you. The white slides are one that are made to show to the kids. So this is just your overview of what you'll need, materials. It says groups of 5. Of course, you're not going to be able to do that virtually. So it will be groups of 1. And then your key vocabulary.
And there also, if you see the underlined blue section, Amy has graciously provided all of any worksheet that you want to push out to the kids, or if you're in the classroom, you can download that and print it for them, but they will be able to have everything that we talk about here. And the link is already there for you. So if you see them at home, then you can send them every link that you have for the unit. And you might find some of the paperwork more helpful than others, so you don't have to download the whole thing, is kind of our point. So there's a little video in here that explains, this is the engage part of the growth of a sunflower seed.
It's a nice video that shows time elapse of a sunflower growing for your kids to get them started thinking. You can always do a notice and wonder chart just to get them started with what this lesson's going to be.
So you're going to get seeds and cups and soil. I like to use a ice cream scooper just so the kids can have the same amount in every one of their cups. And then I've also labeled all 3 of the cups. So that is in the lessons that you will get. So cup number 1 is going to have no water, sunlight, air, and put it in a bag. So you will also be getting a brown paper bag. Cup number 2 is water, no light, and no air. And cup number 3 is water, sunlight, and air. So you're going to have them test all different ways and to test the results. So they are also labeled on the paperwork. So they will be drawing diagrams and over a week's period of time, talking about what happens every day.
So once you get to 7 to 14 days, you'll also get a spray bottle in your kit so the kids can water them. You can do this virtually as a demo where you just visit it and show them every day as you meet what's happening with the 3 bags, or you'll get the supplies to be able to send it home for them to try to plant their own and keep track of. Me personally, I would do it as a demo. I would make lots of copies of this paper and then just keep a class journal of what's happening.
So that you will be getting journals in your kit also to hand out to your children to keep their paperwork organized and to document information. They can write the date and what's happening. Also, some kindergarten, so this is an example you'll see on your screen of the no water, sunlight, air, the water, the light, no air, and the water, sunlight, and air. So the 3 different cups and what they should look like when you're all prepared. We put 4 seeds in every cup just for guarantee of growth. And if you, one thing that you can do is have the kids present, videotape themselves and present and send it back to you of what they're observing. You can assign certain kids to do day 5. You can assign other kids to do day 3. You can do other kids are presenting on day 7. So it just is another involvement that they can have.
But you can do that through Seesaw, or we use Canvas here in Capo. Recording is super easy for them. Actually easier than it is for me. Then, of course, you're going to have discussions. This says turn and talk. Turn and talk would be during a regular
Classroom.
But it's just great discussion.
And we also
items.
keep, when we were online, I kept a chart paper ready. So it would be more class discussion, even though they were not in the classroom with me.
So once we've done what plants need to survive, we do what do animals need to survive, and do humans have that same need? So it's just a discussion item in this unit. In the life science unit, we have many lessons on these two, but this is just a great way to extend it a little bit. We've also put in great videos on plants needs and animals needs. I'll go ahead and play the plants one just so you can see.
The needs of a plant. For a plant to stay alive, it needs 5 things I would not lie. It needs water so it can grow. And it needs soil just like so. Plants need space, they can't be tight. The sun helps plants by giving light. Don't forget to give plants air. Repeat the needs if you dare. Need 1, water. Need 2, soil. Need 3, space. Need 4, light. Need 5, air. A plant.
So short and sweet, and just at their age level. You'll find that they're going to start chanting the songs at random times during the day. So it's helpful with the visuals and the songs.
Yeah, and when I do this, I play this every day as we're doing our journal and everything. They definitely can repeat the needs of plants and animals by the end of these lessons. I've included a double bubble map for them. This is a little complicated. It depends on what time of year you do this. Getting them to fill this in, drawing pictures, writing a sentence at the bottom is definitely towards the end of kindergarten. But I've also made a double bubble where they can drag and drop the pictures into the double bubble. So you can assign that virtually also.
So investigation 2, we're moving on, is places animals live. They're surrounding, oh my gosh.
Our lights just went out. They cycle on and off. So she's gonna go. They're back on. Okay. So you're gonna get a clothing hanger for each kid, a spool of twine, glue bottles you'll provide, or they'll need to have them at home, chart paper, habitat mobile worksheets, which are here. What is that? Okay, so okay, why do animals live
So this
in
is
their
what it's going to look
environment?
like when you're done. This is my habitat mobile, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I did it on the desert, the forest, and the ocean. And then in the desert, you're going to find the animals, giraffe, and in the forest, you're going to find birds and raccoons. And in the ocean, you're going to find mammals such as seals and starfish. And then what do these critters eat? So the seeds is for the giraffe, and insects is for the birds, and the mammals is fish. So I got these cards from an old science kit, but also we have a stack of magazines in my classroom that we use to make, you can have one child do just one section. You don't have to do all of the habitats. You can have them just work on one, and we like to work on the ocean because we live in California and we talk about the ocean a lot. So that's up to you, but this is just an example of why you have hangers in your kit. So you can have one hanger for every habitat, or you can assign this at home. I'm sure they have a hanger, and they can start cutting out pictures of magazines.
Or they
to
can
include.
draw them.
Yes.
If you're having them present on Seesaw or on Canvas, make a video of theirs, etc. As long, you'll be able to know what their pictures are if they present along with it.
Also, they can download from the computer. We had a hard time getting pictures of plankton. So I had them go online, and we just looked up plankton and images, and we printed it. So if they're having a hard time finding anything, they can always go online. I think they're better online than I am. So
Okay,
finding.
Jennifer and Amy, when you're
Yeah.
sharing, the screen, the dominant screen is your share screening. So you got to stop so they can see you holding the mobile and stuff. So some,
Okay.
yeah, some people
Okay.
are commenting because on different devices, they don't see the two. Okay. So,
Okay. Got it.
So we're getting that in the chat too.
Okay.
Okay, did you
By
want
the
me to
way,
show
we-
that again?
Here, I
Did you-
can stop my share and she can
Yeah.
show the mobile
By the
again.
way, I thought we decided not to get the clothes hanger for each child because they might have that at home already.
They would
Yeah,
have it at home.
probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
in the kit, the teacher has one.
Yes, the teacher.
Right.
Okay. So I'll stop the share so Jen can show it again.
Oh my goodness. I have on my shorts today. Busted. All right, here we go. Sorry, friends. I'll slow down here. So I printed this up. The kids wrote theirs and decorated it the way they wanted to. I just showed them an example. So I did, like I said, 3 different habitats, but you can assign them one, or you can assign a group of them the same one, and then they can present it just like this. So here's the area, and this is the animals that you're going to find there, and this is what the animals eat in those specific areas. So we hang these in the classroom, but they can hang them at their house, in their learning area by their desk that they use. But it's just a simple little device. You're going to get twine in your kits. So if you do this in the classroom, you will have something to be able to put them together. I clipped them because I wanted to change them out every once in a while, change the locations and change the animals. And like I said, I got these cards out of an old science kit that nobody was using. So I like to use old resources. This whole unit really is written around recycling and reusing. So like I said, the magazines, I will talk to them at the same time that I'm putting this together, that, you know, we don't just buy things and throw them away. We try to use them as much as we can to get resources to do the things that we do. So yeah, that's a good example of it. I hope that was better. Sorry about that, guys.
And please feel free to unmute yourself and talk to us.
Yeah, if you have any
because
questions,
we
please
can't
stop us.
keep track when we share of the chat. So we don't always see what you're asking. So please don't be afraid to unmute yourself and just ask. Okay, we'll go back to sharing my screen. Okay, can you see it again? I hope. Unmute yourself if you can't.
Yes, everything's good.
Okay. Engage and explore also is an animal's home. This would be a fun one for them to be able to do with their families at home virtually. It's an outside event. You're going to set up a large container with mud along with grass, string, hay, sticks, leaves, etc. And birds find materials from their environment. So there's a video, short video that shows a robin making a nest.
And all the work that it takes to make that little nest.
And so, I mean, it's 3 minutes long, but it definitely comes and steals all this stuff in and out, starts making it.
But I also talked to the kids about a nest that is near the beach. It's going to be a different nest than somebody that lives in Mammoth or somebody that lives in Aliso Viejo, where our school is, because the natural materials that the bird is collecting from their surroundings is going to be different. The nests near the beach are going to be more sandy, and they're not going to have the same kind of grasses and branches as a bird in your backyard in Aliso Viejo. So
And I know from doing this activity, once you start talking about them, kids will find hummingbird nests and other kind of nests. They'll take pictures and bring them in also. Hold on, Jen, I'll stop sharing so that.
yeah, so once we started talking about birds' nests, then of course the kids start noticing birds' nests around them. And so they first took the picture because the birds were actually living in the nest and sent it to the classroom share. And then they noticed that the bird was no longer there. The eggs had hatched and everybody moved out. So they had their parents break the branch, put it in a bag and bring it to class so we could see it. But this is a good tool because you can see the mud and all of the materials that the bird uses to make that little tiny hummingbird nest.
A hint for making these nests is to get a small disposable container, like from a restaurant, a Big Mac container or, leftover container. And if they try to build it within that, it tends to dry better, and they can pop it out once it's dry in the sun if they want to try to make one.
So we did this in my classroom, and the kids just gathered things from the playground, and we put it in the bucket and mixed it up, and everybody got their own nest to make and create. So, I reminded them that it took the bird 3 minutes in fast mode to create this, and so they're going to have to work and mold their nest around. Then we put the trays outside in the sun to dry. The next day they were pretty much dry enough, but we just closed the lid on the plastic container and they were able to take it home and show their families.
Also, when Jen used to teach older kids, that's how she and I first started, was we did big buddies together. She was 4th grade, I was kindergarten, and they would come down and help them build these things. That's during a regular year where they can actually work together. But big buddies is always a good choice too for those messy activities.
When we can actually be back together.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. So that's exploring animal homes. We've come up with some steps for you, and then the explain. This is the important part of the science, is the making sense part, the explaining. Please don't skip this part. This really helps them make sense of why they're doing it. They will love to make the nests. They get dirty, they get to have fun, but you want to tie it back into how this helps them survive. If you don't want to do the mobile, or you want to use these pictures, whoops, sorry. For the mobile, there's printables for you to work on that way or assign. Always have your discussions, and then of course you can elaborate with tying this back to humans and their environment, why people live in a city, what needs do people have, and they can always make lists and share those in their notebooks. As far as virtually, this is a great book called Animal Habitats. And all you have to do is click on it, it'll read the book to them. This animal in their habitats is a digital tree map that you can assign virtually. Whoops, not going to take me there because I'm in present mode. But if you click on it, it's got all the animals at the bottom, and the kids can drag and drop them to their home. Okay. Human impacts and the environment. Environmental changes. NGSS, part of NGSS is environmental. They have environmental standards that we want to also cover. So this is another messy one.
Yes.
But it's lots of fun. You can, you'll need chart paper. You'll get the plastic jars with lids, the plastic, you'll need a plastic tub. Plastic, paper, leaves, trash, soil from the playground, bottle of vegetable oil, and then water. But we're getting at environmental recycling.
So you fill a tub with water and you talk about the ocean and how we need to keep it clean because we're not the only ones that use it. You ask the kids to collect things from the playground, and amazingly we'll find lots of trash out there, plastic, and you will be given a bottle of oil also. And then you're going to ask them, and paper, so there's paper in here
Sorry,
too.
I'm trying to get to stopping share. There you go.
So here's the bin, and with my camera, I can project this for all the kids, but on the screen also, if you're teaching this from virtually, you can project this onto the screen so all the kids can see it. So I have water in here and some paper, but I would ask them to collect some trash, paper and plastic, and then you can add the oil to it because we had a big oil spill in California, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was
Many times.
many times. And so
Well, in the United States,
in the
I don't
United-
know.
Yeah, so I think it was Florida. Anyway,
No.
we talk about, how the animals, a lot of them had died because they couldn't get the oil off of them. So we talk about how they're going to clean this water and get the trash out and get the paper out and get the oil out and get the ocean back to a healthy living environment for plants and animals.
There's some videos in our presentation on the water and water pollution that will help engage them as to what you're trying to get at. But the Explorer, you're going to fill jars with the same amount of water, add pollution to the jar, place a lid on it, shake them up, difference and similarities between things.
You're going to get 6 jars in your kit. So they're about this size. Or the kids can use, if they're doing this at home, you can ask them to get a Tupperware container with a lid and do the same thing. Get soil and trash and water, shake it up, make it look like pollution, and now brainstorm on the chart and come up with ideas of how, now that it's polluted, how are we going to get it clean?
Sorry, I lost my mouse again.
And what is the pollution going to do to the living things? They might have already seen some videos on plastic being caught on turtles and straws being caught on fish, and
Yeah,
how
turtles
scientists have to go
eating
out there.
jellyfish,
Yeah.
eating plastic bags and stuff.
Yeah.
Because they think they're jellyfish. Okay, so you'll have those kind of discussions. Just different ways to elaborate as to why this is important.
And that people are the main cause of the pollution, because kids just think the trash was there, and you have to talk about, people put it there. And our ocean is one of the biggest reasons why people come to California, and they're not going to come here anymore and visit for holidays if things are not cleaned. So
that was just kind of an introduction. The next 2 are kind of about how to take that information and how to do recycling, and then they'll have a chance to try to make in the next lesson a contraption for cleaning. Correct?
yeah, so you will get in the packet, if you want, some cutouts to have them separate what can be reused, what can be recycled.
That's that 3 R's sorting worksheet
Right.
right down here.
So you can push that out to the kids and they can do that at home on their own.
Okay, but moving on to the next one is really what can you recycle? How can we do this? This is also a super fun one to do. You're going to need parent help, or you're going to need Big Buddies help with this one. If you're in the classroom, we provided the stuff in this one virtually for you to do it as a demo. Anyway, you'll get a plastic jar and marbles and dish soap and all of these materials, a wood frame with mesh on it, but you're going to make paper. And yes, you can do it. It's not as hard as you think. If you're in the classroom still, we've done this for Valentine's Day with seeds in it. We've done it Earth Day with seeds in it, and they can plant it in the soil and it comes up with flowers. We've done it for Mother's Day before, depending on what time of year you choose to do this.
So you can have them make a flat piece of paper, or you can have them make a ball. So,
but you'd go through and engage, you know, what is wood used to make, what is paper, but why we don't want to keep cutting down trees. So I always keep a recycle bin in my classroom. So it's really easy to tear up scraps of paper into tiny pieces. They do love this activity. And if you put it into a jar with marbles and dish soap. Anyway, Jen will show you a little bit more about how to do it. Let me spotlight her for a minute. So you start with just those torn up pieces of paper in water, and it makes a big goopy sludge mess.
yeah. So you're making pulp. You're trying to get it as small as possible. You know, the cheap paper that you get as a teacher? Let me get it here. This disintegrates really nicely, just like when your children use it in the classroom and they try to erase it one time, it just shreds. So if you tear this up into tiny pieces and put it in your bucket, but you're going to be given jars with marbles, and you can also use a piece of toilet paper and you put it in here with the water.
Didn't we have one? I don't know what we did with it.
Which one?
I thought we'd put some in a jar, but maybe not. Anyway.
And then you just, this is the part they love the most, is to shake it, and it makes a lot of noise. But, you know, if you give them everybody 25 shakes, then by the time they're done, they're going to pour it out onto the screen. So.
You have a sponge?
Yeah. Let me put it on the screen. And then you're going to put wax paper over it, and wax paper is provided for you. And then you're given a sponge also to smooth it out and make it flat. My mulch is not disintegrated enough, but.
You can also sprinkle seeds on it at this point.
Yeah. So if you don't want to make, and then you're going to peel this off and the paper is going to be flat and you can leave it on. So if you just turn this whole contraption over, the paper mulch will be on the other side of the wax paper, and then you just leave the wax paper in the sun to dry. The next day you can peel off the paper that you used. If you're going to make balls out of this instead of paper, what I did was we made 2 bucketfuls of paper mulch, and I took 1 green piece of construction paper and shredded it and put it in 1 bucket, and I took blue of the other one and put it in the other bucket. And then the kids could either put gloves on or not, and they prefer not to, but they took a little blob of the green and a little blob of the blue, and they made little tiny golf ball sizes, and that turned out looking like the earth. And we had put the seeds in with the mulch already.
Use dryer lint.
Yeah, so I also put dryer lint in there because when I taught the upper grades, they talk about papyrus and how paper making was. And so we put it in the blender. We didn't do the shaking thing. We put the paper and the lint from my dryer. So if you ask the kids to start collecting that, that helps make the paper stay together also. So
But when we did seeds and stuff, once the paper was put together, that one screen full of paper, actually we cut it into, we gave each kid half or quarter, and we cut it into a heart. We put it on Valentine, and we sent it home, and they planted it in their garden and then got flowers. So that's also a really fun activity that allows them to explore recycling and also fun craft to do.
and the paper underground is not going to hurt anything. So
No, it'll break up.
right.
Okay, let me go back to my share.
Yeah, the pulp mixture.
Okay, so all the directions for that are here. It says in groups of 5. During a regular year, if you do groups of 5, I would suggest you put a parent at that activity. And it will take several days, like one parent a day does
So
5 of them.
So the kids are not going to get this mesh because there's not enough in your kit. But what I did was I took a coat hanger that is bendable. And if you don't have coat hangers, you can go to the dry cleaner. I get them a lot, the metal ones at the dry cleaner. And then you pull a pantyhose around it. And that is a mesh that they can use at their house. And it drains the water. When you push the sponge on the top of it, it makes the water come through. Just like these, it's just not as fancy. So if your grandma or your mom have an old pair of pantyhose somewhere, we're recycling those and reusing them for another purpose. So that worked really well because everybody wants to do it at the same time when you have all the kids in the classroom. So I only had 6 of the mesh and I made the rest of them for them. And it was all from recycled materials. So that was helpful.
Did someone have a question?
So this is Lauren, by the way. What we're going to provide for the kids, not the frame mesh like that, but we're buying the window mesh, cut them up into small pieces for them, about, probably 8 by 8 square or so. So they can still do the activity, but they just have to get like a towel, lay the mesh on, and then put the pulp on theirs to dry. It will get the same effect. Okay.
Correct.
So that's
Correct. And it works perfectly.
yeah.
So
So just get a towel or, underneath, or if they don't have a towel, they have old newspapers or magazine. Again, it's just the screen to dry. So
yeah, to suck out the water.
yeah, we will cut out those window screen thing. And so each kid will be able to have that. All right.
And that'll be in the bag that is sent home.
Yeah.
For all the kids that are virtual.
Yeah.
So
It
this
is lots of fun. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid. I was certainly afraid. Jen gets me to do stuff that I'm not necessarily
I like to get
real
messy.
gung ho on, but it's not as hard as you think it is. And oh, they love it. They absolutely love it. The fact that they can make paper, and you see so many of them go home and tell their parents, and they're like, oh yeah, it ends up being one of the most fun things they've done.
Well, and last week when we made paper in my classroom, I gave them all a paper plate and a piece of wax paper and the wet mulch, and water got on their desk, but they had to do it individually. They couldn't do it in groups. And they all wanted to have their own piece of paper. So water dries.
Only she would try this with all 16 first
water never
graders,
hurt anybody.
kindergartners at once. But
Water never hurt anybody.
anyway, I don't like that mess. I definitely would have done it outside, but she's a go-getter. So whichever way you're comfortable with. Good Lord.
We try everything.
I
Man.
know. Okay, moving on.
Well,
Here's a picture.
yes, there's the cup. There's this. There is this a picture of your jar with the paper in there and shaking it up with the marbles and yes, making the recycled paper. It is very fun.
Yeah. And then always going back and tying it back into the science, right? The reason why we do that, how it's made. There's a cute video on paper recycling, how they really do it, why it's important to have a recycle bin in your classroom, why it's important to have a recycle bin at home, to reduce our impact. You can also have them elaborate, create a poster by coloring, cutting, and sorting pictures of objects that can be reused, recycled, and reduced. So all those papers that we showed you earlier can make a cute poster. They also come up with great pictures themselves. All righty.
I think we're going to take a break.
Yep. What time is it? Come back in about 15.
Yep. So get your coffee and your snacks and put on your slippers so your feet stay warm. And we'll see you back here in about 15 minutes.
Anybody have a question?
Oh, yeah. If you have questions, please bring it on. Because Amy is the expert.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see you in 15.
like when Moses told the people? Did he really say with the confidence of Charlton
On 5?
Oh, yeah, because we didn't do the machine.
Oh.
We didn't do the thing. Hi, all, we're back.
We're back, we're back. We're on investigation 5. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us. Oh, good, thank you.
Yay.
And please make sure you let us know if you have any questions.
Okay, unmute if you need help.
Yes.
You're doing great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jen and I are talkers, if you haven't noticed, so.
We'll just carry on a conversation between the two of us.
It must be so hard to talk to blank screens.
That's why we do it together.
Yes.
Keep each other in our bubble.
Thank you.
I am so sorry. It's gone in and out. I don't know what's going on, whether it's my Zoom on my end or what, but I've had to come back in like 3 times now.
Oh, I'm
I keep getting
sorry.
dropped. So
The
If
good
you ever-
news is that she's taping this. So if you need to go back and review something, I'm so sorry, but it will be on hard copy in the can. So you can definitely ask for it to be shown again or
Get a copy of the video or
yeah,
something.
absolutely. I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah.
it happens, but at least that's being recorded, and
Yeah.
I've got to get in to do the survey so I can get the stuff later.
Correct.
Because I do have to tell you, I went to the last one and I sent home the cars and the blue tape to my kids,
Uh-huh.
and I have TK. Oh my gosh. Best lesson I've done all year.
They
love it. They absolutely love it. So,
Yeah.
good to hear. Yay.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you for
feedback.
being brave.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are on investigation 5. We'll get back at it.
So you're gonna brainstorm first and come up with some plans, because now that they know the problems of the world with pollution, they're gonna try to come up with some solutions now. So they have some great ideas. Once it's written down, I write down everything that they say, but then you have to eliminate and break them up into groups. If they're at home, they can do their own. You can brainstorm together and then they can do their own creation. But
So our question is, how can we reduce the amount of trash in the ocean for our future, which is the easiest thing to do here in California, because that's where they see the trash and they feel the worst about it, the amount of trash they see. So there's a great video right here on the ocean and kids and what they could do. This is your STEM activity. And they're going to work together in groups or work together with their families or and engineer.
and all of these items are going to be in your kit. So you're going to have coffee filters and skewers and construction paper, paper clips, tape, index cards. And then of course, if they're at home, they can come up with my kids like to raid my my supply cabinet and get foil and anything else that's in their spoons and knives and whatever. Plastic, of course, but
And a regular year, you may have a STEM lab that this is a good.
right, because there's also other possible materials that you could put out if you have them in your science lab. Popsicle sticks, paper towel rolls, foils, napkins, construction paper, wax paper, glue, foam cups, boxes, whatever you have, or they could bring things from home to try to make their construction.
And then you have a classroom discussion. Their share out is their favorite thing in the world. Again, you can get out water with trash in it and try to run it through their machines. They can just kind of explain if you really think, oh my gosh, these are not going to work with water, don't use water. But it's just to get them started thinking. And then of course, because it's a STEM activity, always give them a chance to, once they've seen others, to go back and redo theirs as to something that might work better.
Yeah, they might need to edit their project. Also, presenting this on Seesaw is another great activity for them to do if they are at home. They will talk through their invention. to the rest of the class, and the rest of the class watches it in their own time and then comments on it.
Flipgrid is another way.
Flipgrid, there you go.
Is
That's the
another
other
way.
one, yeah.
But and then this is another great video on an ocean cleaning machine that they made in Australia that you can show the video.
Solving problems is a good thing.
Okay, present. Okay, now we're going to switch gears off of environmental and off of needs of plants and animals and move on to the weather portion of the earth science unit.
So you are going to get a plethora of supplies. And the best part is you will make it and keep it in your classroom forever and ever. So these are probably the most expensive water bottles ever. So cherish them with your life and cuddle them and hold them tight. You're going to make weather bottles.
These are not things the kids are going to make. These are going to be yours, okay, to show different types of weather to keep forever. But the kids can play with them and love them, and they do. You're making a cloudy weather bottle and a snowy weather bottle. And this one's windy and
There's the sun
sunny
and the blue sky.
and
So there's 5 different ones. You're going to get
rainy.
the supplies to put
Oops, sorry.
everything together. And at the back, there should be the paperwork to tell you how to put everything together.
I'm going to stop my share. I'm going to start sharing so you can see.
So the cloudy one, you're going to use the jumbo white pom-poms. Cotton balls do not work, so the pom-poms will be provided. Water and glycerin. So everything that is
Sorry,
involved
I'm
in
trying to
this
get there.
is going to be for you. The rainy is the blue, there's some blue glass beads in here for the raindrops, and there's gray and brown jumbo pom-poms for the clouds, and water and glycerin. So the glycerin is going to keep these from ever getting funky. We put hot glue on the lids and then seal them shut, so they are good forever. I've had these for probably 5 years, and still nothing has happened to them. The kids love to play with them, and they love to take the one out of what the weather is like for the day. So next week is supposed to be raining, so they should know to take this bottle out and put it on the ledge. There's a good picture also, a visual for you. Snowy, which they don't see unless they go to the mountains, of course, but they'll have the snowflakes and the white glitter and the glycerin again, of course. And then you will get bottles of, or you will get packets of the glitter that you will need to put inside. And then we poured out a little bit of water into a cup of all of these first, so we could put the materials inside and not overflow water all over the place.
And you have to peel off the Voss
the labels, yeah, which,
and they do peel right off.
yeah.
So it's not a problem. But I will tell you, it's worth your time to make these once you get your kit. The kids absolutely love these sensory bottles. And it really helps them to have a visual that goes with what they're learning about. So these are your make and take for your class forever.
So with everybody's calendar, I'm sure in kindergarten, all you teachers have your calendars posted, and usually the calendars come with what is the weather today and what season are we in. So I put Velcro on the top of mine, and I give them the cards, and I have them try to match up the weather with the bottle. So it's like a learning station also. So you can do that any way you want, but these automatically came with my calendar. So I didn't have to reinvent anything.
So that was lesson 6A, but lesson 6A is pretty much just for you to do a make and take so you can use these in your classroom. 6B is actually observation of the weather. I know we all kind of do that our own way in our classroom. You might want to do it all year, or you might want to do it just when you're doing this weather unit. It's up to you, but you can see in this lesson, daily weather calendar, graph, weather icons, pencils, crayons, scissors, glue. So you have access to all these as printables that you can send home. Again, your vocabulary is your most important key that you're trying to get to all of these different vocabulary words. How can we use patterns to see in weather and to predict future weather?
And that's the goal, is to have them see a pattern in something, because they don't realize there is a pattern to the weather.
And you can connect that back to the environment. We live in the desert, so that's why we see mostly sunny weather here, dry weather here. In other places, you can study the weather in other places to be able to get to that snow.
So all this paperwork on the weather charts is in your packet. You can send it out to your kids via the computer if they're at home, and they can chart it from home. So you can have them draw each day's weather, or we provided you with little cutouts that they can color and put on what the day is.
You can see these are the ones you're
There
gonna
you go.
get. But I also did one where you can drag and drop what the weather is also, that you can shoot out.
So
to your
this is
kids.
a great, she's a wonderful with the technology of the world, and this is a great thing for them to do if they need to be online.
Also, at the end of the month, you can then graph it. So I put a weather graph here for each one. They can put it in, or there's also a printable of that.
Lots of options. We're trying to give you all the options possible and know that time is of essence. So if you need to pick and choose, but we are trying to give you as many different ways of teaching the standards.
Okay, 6C is also weather. It is a thermometer, a daily temperature log, cooler than yesterday, warmer than yesterday. Basic knowledge, not so much that it was 76 degrees, but that it was warmer or cooler than the day before.
So you're going to get lots of parting gifts with this kit. Some kits are fuller than others. But you will be getting these thermometer cards that you can give to all of your children. We copied them on cardstock, and then you will get a hole puncher even to put here and here. You can do it with shoestring. You can do it with ribbon or twine. But what I did right now on the break was just a red crayon. You have them color half of it, and then they can move this up and down on their thermometer to tell what the temperature is outside. And then they chart it. Also, that in your kit, you will find what those temperatures mean. So freezing, cold, cool, warm, or hot. So the numbers might not mean anything to them until you put it in a word form. Then you're also going to be given a real thermometer, if I could get it open. This will be mine because I just tore it.
You're fine. Doesn't matter.
Okay, so I keep this outside. And then I have another one that I keep inside the classroom. So every day of the month, the one child is responsible to read the temperature outside, and one child is responsible to read the temperature inside. And we also chart that on our daily calendar.
And whether it was warmer or cooler than the day before.
So custodians are really helpful putting this up and keeping it up outside somewhere, because there's screws and all that come with it. So then hopefully it can stay there forever and you don't have to put it up the next year. But Beckman does give you one of these nice setups.
Kids at Signs.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Kids at Signs.
It was Beckman before. Okay, so you're getting one of those in your kit. All righty. Let's go back.
All the different ways and the different materials that you're going to get in the kit to log the temperature. So you might like one version versus another.
And then I put a video in here, super simple for kindergarten on intro to thermometers. What cold weather looks like, what warm weather looks like, what hot weather looks like on a thermometer.
Hey guys, it's Kaylee.
Oh, and I
In
don't,
this lesson, we're going to learn
let's go on. You guys can play that yourself. Discussion after your month is over. You want to discuss the patterns you see, how many hot days, how many cold days. We've all had the kids be meteorologists. They posted them on Flipgrid, weather scientist. Anyway, this is a darling kid that was from one of Jen's classes. And we did green screen with them, and they chose their background weather, and then they talked about it. So this is.
Hi, my name is Rayon. I'm the weatherman in Elisa Viejo. The temperature is cold and foggy. You should wear long sleeve shirts and pants and some tough jackets. Be safe.
If you couldn't hear me prompt him the whole time, no, that was our first attempt, and I think it was absolutely adorable, and the parents absolutely loved it.
And you can do it on the Doing app with the green screen. It's really not that tough.
No, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Also, they preferred the background to be moving. They preferred it emotion.
They think it's really funny to have the sky move behind them. But
what app was that? What app was that?
It's Do Ink. It's right here on the screen. Do Ink, right there. It does cost money, but probably your iPads at school probably have it on there already. I'm sure your district has probably purchased a site license for it. They don't tend to let kindergarten teachers know that because it's used mostly by upper grade. But I'm sure you will have a parent in your classroom who can come in and do this for you. I did mine with a student teacher last year to be able to have them forecast. And they do. They love it. I put them up on Flipgrid and the parents could all see them, and yeah, it was a good activity. Then they're going to evaluate their charts and then you can ask them questions about what weather was the most, what was the least, how many days did we have rain, or how many days did it snow, or how many windy days were there. Do you think the weather will be like this the next month, or the month that you're in the first grade next year? So lots of predictions, making predictions, and how the weatherman gets paid, the weather person gets paid. A lot of money to make predictions when it's something that nobody really can know for sure until it happens. Let's see, that's just what we just told them. More discussion, and I use chart paper through this whole entire lesson. Often, every day our ideas are thrown out and written down because I'm trying to validate their thinking process. The kindergarten standard does do severe weather, which tends to make kids very nervous when you bring up severe weather. So we found that kind of making it fun, making a hurricane in a jar or thunderstorm in a jar or whatever you want to call it tends to make them less nervous about it. But they should know, and that how people get prepared for those things. How can we prepare for severe weather? And then there's a video on severe weather. And then model a storm. So this is what you're going to get the supplies to make this also, and to keep it forever and ever. So you just spin it around, like when you flush your toilet, it'll spiral, and then they will see that the glitter in the middle will create the storm. So they'll just do this all day if you let them.
make the glitter into a Wizard of Oz event and how it swirls and spins, and then gravity will pull everything back down. But all of these materials will be inside of your kit also for you to use. So
Yeah, you'll get vinegar and dish soap and glitter, and then you just use sink water and a bottle to be able to make it.
you can also have them make it in the little jars that you'll have. But then those jars are reused for other things. So then if you don't want to save it forever, you got to dump it. Yeah.
But you can also just have the kids bring in water bottles.
Yes, which they have a lot of.
Okay. Also severe weather. We talked about a survival kit worksheet, and they're going to create a wind sock because severe wind is the thing they're most familiar with here in California, other than an earthquake. But we don't get too many thunderstorms or tornadoes, even hurricanes, but we do have windy days here. And yeah, it's kind of a stop everything. It's a windy day. We're going to make wind socks today and try to figure that out. So you have the materials to be able to make those in your classroom. It's just the standard little wind sock, but I'll have Jen explain a little bit more. Let me stop sharing my screen so you can see her. There you go.
So you're all going to get this beautiful official wind sock that your custodian can hang for you again at your school site. And just by looking at it, the kids can determine if it's windy or not. This is a professional one. And then this is a sample of what the kids are going to make. If you're talking about rainbows and all that, you can have them put Roy G. Biv on the bottom, but they can decorate it any way they want. You're going to get your tissue paper that it's going to come like this. And all we did was slice the whole thing together into strips to make it easier on everybody. So Amy just keeps this in a nice container. But instead of trying to cut one page at a time, just cut the whole thing in strips at the same time. And then they can either choose the colors they want to have at the bottom, or you can have them do Roy G. Biv. Then we go outside with this and they run and see what direction the wind sock is blowing. Is it blowing toward them or away from them? Is it blowing up in the air or is it down? So what does wind do when it touches the wind sock? So it's kind of this version, but in their own work. And also we hang these in the classroom for the month because they're very jolly colors and their artwork is beautiful, of course. So you're going to be getting a really,
and you get a whole packet of construction.
Yes, you get construction paper and then they can decorate it whatever way that you want. Yes, so see, we all punched here to keep it hanging and loose. Because I know some of them, they have just like a handle, but then it's not as free flowing as if you do it that way. So there's really a meaning to our madness,
but again,
they're going to observe,
really like it.
And in their notebooks, again, they're going to log what happens after you have your class discussion. But it's a very fun project for them to do. They love it.
And makes severe storms not as scary.
Right. And Amy has created this nice survival kit for severe weather. So these are also kind of ties back to all the needs of living things. They need food, shelter, water. So hopefully they're coming up with the necessities to survive if there was a severe, any severe weather. So just something.
And then I made this too for virtual, your needs versus your wants in a storm. What would you need? I mean, you know, you really want that television set, but it's a want.
And this is a
need.
kindergarten standard. We do this at Christmas time. So this is excellent. They want to have their Nintendo game with them or whatever they call it today, but it doesn't necessarily mean it goes in the survival kit.
So, okay. We have another performance expectation for physical science.
I'm gonna go get my
2, and it's the effects of sunlight on the Earth's surface. So within that construction paper, when you make windsocks, please don't use the black and white paper because you're going to need that for this activity. You need ice cubes, Ziploc bags. There's a worksheet, and you're getting to the absorb and reflect of melting. Okay.
and they'll want to stay outside and watch it melt.
There's an engage that shows a snowman melting. Oh, sorry, the rest of that is not on there. I went too fast, sorry. Also, along with this, you can put ice cubes out on the black and white paper and watch them melt and see which one melts faster. It definitely happens on that black paper first.
Yeah.
So obviously we don't give you ice cubes. You have to provide that, but the black and white paper. Okay. So also to get to the absorb, reflect, and melt aspect is you're going to get a tube of sunscreen in your packet and a piece of colored paper. They could do this at home with their own sunscreen. But what you're going to do is use their handprint in sunscreen. They're going to need quite a bit of it. And if you place it on your paper, those dark colors, that the blue she's using works the best. Hold on, let me stop sharing so they can see.
The cheaper the paper, the better, actually. The construction paper, if you get really nice paper, it won't fade as fast.
But if you put that outside in the sun, the outside will fade and the handprint will stay darker. And so kids can start to see why it's so important that they put on sunscreen.
Even on a cloudy day, we talk about it, that the sun rays are still there.
But it really won't take longer than the end of your day. So if you do it
first thing
in the morning
yeah.
and then leave them outside in the sun, by the end of the day, they'll be able to write or at least make a chart or something, or you can get to it the next day. You can look at it in the afternoon and then write it up the next day.
So hopefully you can see that. Can you see my hand on there?
I think so. I don't know, but
they're amazed.
Yes,
they're amazed.
And that's another one we get really good feedback from parents.
And just going back real quick to the melting ice on the black and white paper, we also talk about the clothing that they wear. So if they wear dark clothes, they're going to sweat more than if they wear white clothes when they're playing out in the sun. So they don't really realize the color difference and how it affects the ice or their body, but it's a good, it's a very good class discussion.
Okay. Then this is another drag and drop as far as things that can help protect you from the sun and things that don't help protect you.
Pizza always protects me.
It's hard to come up with things. Okay, so our last thing in this unit is an engineering design, again, a STEM activity. You're going to get some UV beads. Those beads turn colors in the sun. And then they could have supplies from home, but you'll have leftover of the twine and the index cards and the straws and the construction paper. But they're going to try to create a sun structure to protect the UV beads. So they can put it outside and
if the UV beads change color, then
they have to go they have to go redesign.
So they're all given paper first to brainstorm a contraption, and then they might have to come back and revisit their drawing because if the beads changed colors, they didn't do it well enough to protect everything.
And we usually have them do it with a partner. Again, if you're virtual, they're going to have to do it with their family and try it out. But you know, you use the supplies and you test your structure. And here's some contraptions they've come up with in
This,
the
of
past.
course, was prior to
Yeah.
COVID because there are no masks here.
And I had them bring in cereal boxes, which is always an easy thing for
Yes.
them to find, but to be able to make a structure to protect their beads.
And the picture on the left is exactly how my classroom looks.
Yeah, none of these
Supplies
things are-
everywhere and working on the floor and getting involved. So they will love to work on this and take their time and build and rebuild.
And then again, share out can be on Seesaw or Flipgrid. In the classroom, you can record those things and send them home. Parents love to see them present.
And we call the beads treasures, like in a treasure chest. You need to keep it, you know, it's very fragile and you have to keep it safe from the environment. So you're going to see the word treasure throughout. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what did you learn from your design challenge? How well did you work together? Okay, that's it.
So it's kind of broken up into two sections, weather, and then the living plants and animals and what they need to survive and how humans have an effect on the environment. So hopefully we divided that up enough for you guys to get a good understanding, and all of your parting gifts will be inside of your kit. So even, you know, just to go out and buy something like this, it's nice to have somebody already give it to you and appreciate you as a teacher teaching science to your kids. So round of applause for Kids at Science.
Yes.
We
Those
appreciate
Boss
them.
bottles alone are
yes.
expensive.
The Voss bottles, yes. So I told my husband, do not break it, do not drop it.
Questions for us?
How we doing?
Will we get the new password for the new?
To us?
Yes, I think Lauren is the one that's going to show you the password on how to.
I think she put it on the next slide. So as long as nobody has any questions, I'll start to share again and get you out of here.
Somebody else was asking a question.
No, I was asking about access to this unit because I wasn't able to get access to this unit when I clicked on the old password.
Okay. I think that's on the next slide. If not, we'll get Lauren on here.
Yeah, I'm on. So go ahead, go to the next slide, unless you're. Okay.
These are the investigation resources. Also, if you go to that table of contents and go to resources, it's got everything. Fine. And then this is who helped us design.
All the crew that's behind all of this.
And there's your answer.
Yeah, in order to get your kits, you're going to need to fill out the survey. And then you'll get the voucher and be able to pick up your kit.
Okay, so yeah, and then go ahead and go to the next slide. All right, so this is our website, kidsatscience.org, and you're going to click on NGSS unit, and then there are 2 units on there already, all right? But the one that you've been trained on right now is Earth and Space, and the password is NGSS 2020. So, and then we'll show you where the survey is. It is really important that you complete the survey with the correct information for us to send out the voucher to pick up the kits. Now, those of you, some of you already paid for the training, some of you have not. Please be sure if you do not have a code from us, make sure you process your payment that way too, all right? So can I share my screen, ladies?
Of course.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing mine.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm having trouble with this.
Okay.
My mouse today.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen and let you know, this is how you get onto the Kids at Science website. Oops.
Born in the small.
You don't need this. We already did this. So when you go online, this is our Kids at Science website. Okay, I'm going to go back to the home. You're going to see a home page that looks like this. All right. So up here next to the home button is NGSS units. And these are distant learning units, all right? That's been modified from our other units. So this is kindergarten distant learning modules. And in here, there is the physical science unit that was trained last time. So some of you went to that one in October. Okay, so these are the lessons from the physical science unit. Today, this is your earth and space science unit down here. So when you click on here, you will have access to that slide deck that Jennifer and Amy just went over. But this button down here is where I need to collect your information so that I can make sure that you get a voucher to pick up your kit. All right, so here is your workshop evaluation. It looks like this, very quick survey, okay? It asks you about how you're training, okay, your information so that, again, we can send you information on when to pick up your kit. The kit will have materials for 30 students. We will try our best to bag them one by one. Worst case scenario, if we don't have, a lot of it, like I said, no full-time workers. We have people volunteering coming in. We have a few part-time people that we pay to put the kits together. So I can't promise you that everything will be individually bagged for you, but the soil, different things that needs to be done, that will be done for you. Okay, so please answer this, and that's how we get information for you. And then again, the unit is on here. So when you click on here, you will have access to the slide decks to go to share with your students. Okay, so that is how our website works. The password for those of you who are to get into this is NGSS 2020. Okay, so let me type that for everybody in the chat box. Okay, it's capital NGSS 2020. Okay, so that is the password to access from last time and also the new unit here. All right. If we ever do a password resetting, we will email to those of you who've answered those survey that you've attended, right? So again, see if you can access the workshop survey right now. Go on our website. Okay, our website is kids@science.org. Okay. All right. With that, ladies, you're all done? Yes, everything's good?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think we're done.
Very good. Yay. Okay. Hopefully it was a productive morning for all of you.
Yes,
You
thank you for
ladies are
giving me your
wonderful.
time, friends.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you for
good.
coming. We appreciate it.
We
Thank
do.
you.
Okay.
Do you know when the kits are going to be available after we get our voucher?
The voucher, when you get it, is for you to come. We are aiming the middle March. Okay. If we can get it done sooner, we'll email them out to you. The location to pick up is in Garden Grove. Okay. We're frantically ordering, putting it together. Okay. There's been a little bit of delay of shipments, obviously, because of COVID and things like that. But our goal is to get it to you by the beginning of March. Okay. Beginning to the middle of March. All right. Very good. So if you completed your survey, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Have a great time. It's the 3-day weekend. So we appreciate that you're taking
Yes,
part of
we
your time
appreciate
out
you coming.
for this. Okay. All right. So thank you, everyone. So, but please, it's important that you answer that survey. Those of you who are paying out of pocket $25 for registration, now remember, you can always ask your principal. You can ask your PTA, all right, to reimburse you on that, because, and if it's the worst case scenarios, you can't, it is what it is. If you have a financial hardship, email us, okay? Let me see what we can do. But otherwise, the majority of teachers, they've been able to ask their principal, $25, I get hands-on science for my kids. You're not going to find this deal anywhere else. So spread the word if you have other friends and colleagues, right? Our next set of training will be on life science, and that's going to be the end of June, okay? There's going to be 3 dates, again, just like for kindergarten. We haven't published it yet, but most likely it's going to be either June 28th, 29th, or 30th. All right. So, all right. Thank you, everyone.
And we'll be back.
You'll see these two beautiful faces again. All right. So Jennifer and Amy, thank you so much for all your work, your dedication, and helping everybody out like this. All right. So thank you, everyone.
Thank
Okay.
you for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
Good.